The shy maid quietly folded her apron one final time, placed her house keys on the kitchen counter, and slipped a sealed envelope beneath the billionaire's favorite coffee mug. She didn't ask for her final paycheck. She didn't say goodbye to anyone. By the time the billionaire returned home that sunny afternoon, she was gone. Assuming she had simply found another job, he opened the envelope with mild disappointment. But as he read the first trembling sentence, the color drained from his face. Before he reached the final page, tears blurred his vision. The quiet young woman he barely noticed had been carrying a heartbreaking secret for months, and the truth would change his life forever. If you believe kindness should never be taken for granted, compassion can change lives, and everyone deserves hope and a second chance, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that remind us what truly matters. 50-year-old billionaire Theodore Ashcroft had built one of the nation's most successful architectural firms. His designs transformed skylines, his charitable foundation restored historic buildings, and magazines often praised his business achievements. Yet after losing his wife, Margaret, to a long illness 6 years earlier, Theodore buried himself in work. His mansion became quiet, and although dozens of employees cared for the property, he rarely paused long enough to truly know them. Among those employees was 28-year-old maid Clara Winslow. Clara had worked at the Ashcroft estate for almost 3 years. She was painfully shy. She always greeted everyone with a gentle smile, spoke only when necessary, and quietly finished every task before anyone noticed she had been there. The gardeners admired her kindness. The cooks appreciated her willingness to help during busy afternoons. Even the security staff joked that Clara moved through the house so quietly she was almost invisible. Theodore knew very little about her. He only knew the mansion somehow felt calmer whenever she was working. What nobody realized was that Clara spent nearly every evening caring for her grandfather, Arthur, who had raised her after she lost both parents in a car accident as a child. Arthur's health had slowly declined, and expensive medical treatments had exhausted every penny Clara earned. Still, she never complained. She simply worked harder, hoping she could somehow hold everything together. One warm afternoon, Theodore returned home earlier than expected after an important meeting was cancelled. The mansion seemed unusually quiet. He asked the housekeeper where Clara was. The answer surprised everyone. She had resigned only an hour earlier. She thanked the staff, wished everyone happiness, and quietly left. No explanation. No farewell. Only a sealed envelope with Theodore's name. Curious, Theodore opened it. The first lines immediately caught his attention. Clara thanked him for giving her steady work during the hardest years of her life. She apologized for leaving without saying goodbye but explained that she couldn't trust herself to speak without crying. As he continued reading, Theodore discovered the heartbreaking truth. Arthur's condition had suddenly worsened. Doctors believed he had very little time left. Clara had accepted a full-time caregiver position hundreds of miles away because it included free housing near the hospital where Arthur would receive specialized treatment. She couldn't refuse. The letter never asked Theodore for money. It never complained. Instead, Clara thanked him for unknowingly giving Arthur hope. She explained that every evening she carried home leftovers the kitchen staff planned to discard, allowing her grandfather to enjoy warm meals while she saved every possible dollar for his medicine. She also confessed something Theodore never expected. During the years after Margaret's passing, Clara often noticed Theodore skipping meals, working through weekends, and sitting alone in the garden staring at the empty chair where his wife once read books. Without telling anyone, she quietly placed fresh flowers beside Margaret's favorite bench every Friday afternoon because she believed nobody should grieve alone. Theodore's hands began trembling. He had noticed those flowers countless times. He always assumed the gardeners arranged them. He never imagined the quiet maid had been offering silent comfort to a man who barely knew her name. Then came the final page. Clara wrote that Theodore had once unknowingly saved her life. Nearly 3 years earlier, she had arrived at the mansion after receiving notice that Arthur's first emergency surgery would cost more than she could ever afford. She had planned to quit because she believed caring for him required impossible choices. That same afternoon, Theodore had announced improved employee health benefits and emergency family assistance without making a speech or seeking recognition. Those benefits covered much of Arthur's treatment. She wrote that while Theodore probably never remembered signing the paperwork, she would never forget it. Theodore lowered the letter. For the first time in years, he cried openly. Not because Clara had left. Because he realized how many quiet acts of kindness had passed between them without either expecting gratitude. The following morning, Theodore asked his staff to help locate Clara. Not to persuade her to return. Simply to thank her properly. Several days later, he found her at the rehabilitation hospital where Arthur rested peacefully. Clara looked embarrassed for leaving so suddenly. Instead of discussing work, Theodore thanked her for reminding him that compassion often speaks in silence. He also met Arthur, who proudly described the remarkable young woman who had sacrificed everything to care for him. Inspired by Clara's devotion, Theodore expanded his company's employee family care program, ensuring every worker received paid caregiver leave during serious family illnesses. He also created the Margaret Ashcroft Caregiver Scholarship, supporting people who devoted their lives to caring for aging relatives while pursuing education. Thousands of families eventually benefited from the program. Clara never returned as a maid. She became the scholarship's first graduate, earning qualifications in geriatric care before leading one of the country's most respected elder support centers. Years later, Theodore visited the center. He watched Clara gently helping elderly residents laugh during an afternoon gardening session. She hadn't changed. She still moved quietly. She still smiled softly. The only difference was that now the entire world recognized the extraordinary heart he had once overlooked. Before this story comes to an end, we'd love to hear from you. Has someone ever changed your life through a quiet act of kindness you didn't fully appreciate until later? Please leave a meaningful comment below because your story may become the encouragement someone else needs today. As another warm afternoon sunlight filled the care center's peaceful garden, Theodore placed fresh flowers beside a wooden bench where residents gathered to read together. It reminded him of the flowers Clara had quietly placed beside Margaret's favorite seat so many years earlier. He finally understood that the greatest expressions of love are often the ones expecting nothing in return. Sometimes the people who leave without saying goodbye leave behind the deepest lessons of all. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, never overlook the quiet people in your life. They may be carrying the biggest burdens and giving the greatest kindness without ever asking to be seen.